Former special counsel Jack Smith believes Donald Trump would have been convicted if his election interference case had gone to trial. Overnight, the Justice Department released Smith's report on the case he was preparing against the president-elect. Smith said Trump engaged in an unprecedented criminal effort to overturn the 2020 election. Trump has denied all charges. Smith resigned last week ahead of Trump's upcoming inauguration. CBS News Justice Department reporter Robert Legare is following this for us. So, Rob, a lot of the evidence in this report has already been made public. What's new?
That's right, Lindsay. So as we say with all these special counsel reports, a lot of it has already been made public in public court filings. And so for us, as we're poring over this, what's most interesting in all of these reports is less summaries of the investigation and more what we can learn about how they came to their prosecutorial decisions. So first, very interesting, we learned that Jack Smith and his team considered charging the president-elect with violating the Insurrection Act, a very rare law, and they cited certain court decisions that said that January 6th was an insurrection. Notably, Jack Smith said that the evidence that they collected, however, did not lead them to the conclusion that Trump knew the full scale of the violence that would take place on January 6th. The report does fault Trump for January 6th to some degree, but says they did not. One of the reasons they did not charge him with violating the Insurrection Act was because they could not come to that conclusion and did not think it could be proven at trial. Also interesting to us is just learning about the machinations of the investigation, particularly the secret grand jury investigations that took place leading up to the charges. We learned that the investigators conducted about 250 interviews, voluntary interviews with witnesses, and then subpoenaed and got grand jury testimony from more than 50. I think it's about 55. And so one of those at the time we reported was former Vice President Mike Pence. And so we're learning just how much information the special counsel collected before moving to the charges.
So we got to remind everybody, this is just one part of the findings into the election interference case. The second part would be about the investigation into alleged mishandling of classified documents. Catch us up to speed on where we stand there. Will the public ever see it?
Right. Well, that's a good question. There's going to be a hearing on Friday about whether or not Congress, specific members of Congress on the judiciary branch who oversee the on the judiciary committees who oversee the Justice Department. There's a hearing on Friday to determine whether or not they will get access in a closed, non-public, sealed setting to that report, that portion of the report. As you mentioned, that deals with the classified documents investigation into Trump and his former co-defendants, aide Walt Nauta and former Mar-a-Lago property manager Carlos de Oliveira. The case for those two men is ongoing in the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals. Prosecutors are trying to overturn a decision from Judge Eileen Cannon in Florida that dismissed the case, finding Jack Smith was improperly appointed and unlawfully named special counsel. So that hearing is going on Friday, and we will determine and that will likely determine whether or not Congress gets the report. What happens next will likely fall to the Trump administration and his Justice Department.
Okay. Rob Legare, thank you.
Thank you.